street stall came into view through the crowd. There was always a crush of people on the street until the last second before 7 o'clock curfew. This was especially the case in summer, when the oppressive heat inside the ghetto apartments could bring people to faint. Besides which, the overcrowding inside was no better than the overcrowding outside. I had no idea how many people were inside those ghetto walls. Samuel guessed 1 million. Mrs. Kuklinski in the bedroom beside ours said it was much more. Mother was quite confident that it was maybe only 100,000. All I knew was that ours was not the only apartment in the ghetto designed for one family that was currently housing 4. In fact, there were many living in even worse conditions. While the population was a hot topic of conversation on a regular basis, it didn't actually matter all that much to me. I could see with my own eyes and smell with my own nose that however many people were trapped within the ghetto walls, it was far, far too many. When the vendor's table came into view, my heart sank. She was already packing up for the day, and there was no produce left. I was disappointed, but not surprised. There had been little chance of us finding food so late in the day, let alone food that someone would barter for a simple slip of soap. Davidek and I had passed a store that was selling eggs, but they'd want złote for the eggs, not a tiny scrap of soap. "Wait here a minute," I murmured to my brother, who shrugged as he sank to sit on an apartment stoop. I might have let him follow me, but even after the depths our family had sunk to over the years of occupation, I still hated for him to see me beg. I glanced at him, recording his location to memory, and then pushed through the last few feet of people mingling on the sidewalk until I reached the street vendor. She shook her head before I'd spoken a word. "I am sorry, young man. I have nothing to offer you." "I am Samuel Gorka's son," I told her. It was an oversimplification of a complicated truth, but it was the best way I could help her place me. "He fixed your tooth for you, remember? A few months ago. His practice is on Miwa Street." Recognition dawned in her gaze, but she still regarded me warily. "I remember Samuel, and I am grateful to him, but that doesn't change anything. I have no food left today. My brother and we work during the day. And Samuel, too. You know how busy he is, helping people like yourself. But the thing is, we have a sick family member who hasn't. Kid, I respect your father. He's a good man and a good dentist. I wish I could help, but I have nothing to give you." She waved to the table, to the empty wooden box she had packed up behind her, and then opened her palms toward me as if to prove the truth of her words. "There is nowhere else for me to go. I can't take no for an answer. I'm going to bed hungry tonight, but I can't let—" I trailed off, the hopelessness hitting me right in the chest. I would be going home without food for my mother that night, and the implications made me want to curl up in a ball, right there in the gutter. But hopelessness was dangerous, at least in part because it was always followed by an evil cousin. Hopelessness was a passive emotion, but its natural successor drove action, and that action rarely resulted in anything positive. I clenched my fists, and my fingers curled around the soap. I pulled it from my pocket and extended it toward the vendor. She looked from my palm to my face, then sighed impatiently and leaned close to hiss at me. "I told you, I have nothing left to trade today. If you want food, you need to come earlier in the day. That's impossible for us, don't you understand?" To get to the market early in the day, one of us would have to miss work. Samuel couldn't miss work. He could barely keep up as it was. He performed extractions from sunup to curfew most days. Rarely was this work paid, now that money was in such short supply among ordinary families like his patients. But the work was important, not just because it afforded some small measure of comfort to a group of people who were, in every other way, suffering immensely. Every now and again, Samuel did a favor for one of the Jewish police officers.